The history of a J.B. Bergère company goes back to 1878, when it was established at 38 and 39 Commerce Street, Villafranca del Penedès. It was a company that specialized in wine exportation. The owners were a French couple who had been forced into exile when Alsace was invaded by the Prussians in 1870. The wife was called Apollonia Tussaud Meyer, and my husband Juan Baptista Bergère Muller. In the 20s, Émile Bergère married Maria Balaguer, thereby uniting both families. The couple lived in the big house located in Rambla de Nostra Senora in Villafranca, a building that is now managed and administrated by Caixa Penedès as a center for the promotion of cultural and artistic activities. As far as the vine is concerned, the family definitely promoted the wine trade in Catalonia. In 1953, they inaugurated the most up-to-date facilities of the time, which included a private railway platform to promote wine exportation around Europe. Due to their constant interest in development, they bought the estate Masia Farine in 1984 in Olerdala so as to expand production and cover the growing demand for quality wines. Their white, rosé and red wines of Penedès denomination of origin have been awarded and recognized in many contests since the company was founded. On the 7,000 square meters of the estate, we produce wines with the Penedès denomination of origin, table wine, wine with Catalan denomination of origin, and wine that goes into the production of cava. The Farine estate has 80 hectares of vineyard and is located in a privileged area of El Penedès, thanks to the characteristics of the land and the weather conditions. The cycle of our wine stocks starts in autumn when it gets colder. The ochre tones replace the green hues and the vine loses its leaves. The plant loses strength and prepares for the pruning and the fertilization while waiting for the winter cold to arrive. During the winter months, the biological activity of the plant ceases, and then the ploughing and the pruning takes place. On some occasions, during the coldest months of the year, snow falls, and the landscape not only looks magnificent, but also provides a welcome water supply for the stocks. When the temperatures rise, the plant weeps as a result of the sap and the mobilization of reserves. The vine sprouts in spring. The sap runs through the plant and new green shoots appear. These thin and fragile shoots will later become leaves. Later in June, plants bloom, and from June on the flowers give rise to small fruit. The entire plant nourishes the grapes, which grow step by step. In spring, the vine is also pruned by hand, because that way the grape is ventilated and the risks of blight such as mildew or oidium decreases. During these months, the infertile nodes in the stalk or vine shoots are removed. This task is carried out by modern machines acting with great precision. The hottest months of the year produce the accumulation of sugar in the grape, and it is at this point that the technicians carry out ripeness controls so as to determine with the utmost accuracy the best day to harvest. When picking grapes, the temperature is a very important factor. This has been facilitated by the advanced technology of the harvesting machines that allow harvesting at night. A quick harvest is essential since the fruit needs to be harvested at the optimum moment. Consequently, harvesting machines have been a major development in this process because they can harvest large quantities of grapes in a few hours, meaning these can be stored in the cellar as soon as possible. Quick transportation is also vital because once the grape has been harvested, the oxidation process accelerates. Therefore, the quicker the better. When the grape arrives at the cellar, a sample is taken to determine the analytic parameters and check if they meet the foreseen requirements. Then the grape is kept in the cellar to begin the winemaking process. At this moment, mechanical treatments are applied to obtain the must without breaking the seeds and rachis. Thanks to a modern refrigeration system, the temperature of the grape can be lowered and it can be prepared for pressing. The grape and the must are transferred to the pneumatic press by peristaltic pumps so that the liquid and solid phases can be separated. Then the fermentation process can start. For the white wines, once the pulp has been pressed, it ferments in huge thermoregulated stainless steel tanks. During this process, the must sugar is transformed into carbon dioxide and alcohol thanks to the action of yeast. The fermentation of alcohol is a biochemical process that causes a radical change in the composition of the must. It affects its physical and chemical properties, converting it into a highly sensorial liquid thanks to the diversity of its components. We control the temperature of the must so that it does not rise much and so it does not lose its aroma. For the red wines, we store the pulp in tanks so that the fermentation and maceration can take place. However, the red wine fermentation of the must is carried out with the shelling. We also proceed to an adequate maceration and fermentation of rosé wines. When the wine fermentation finishes, the wine is very unstable and delicate, and we need to control its maturation to avoid any damage. This is the moment when we produce the analysis that will allow us to see which aspects we need to modify in the wine, and that allows us to determine the most appropriate blending and coupages. At the laboratory, expert oenologists check and track the different production methods, taking advantage of the latest technological equipment. When the fermentation is finished, the filtration and decanting takes place. This consists in separating the new wine, still cloudy, from the mothers of fermentation deposits that contains the remains of yeast and must impurities. All of these technological processes are carried out by qualified professionals. Thus do we achieve wines with the quality level required by the client. We We produce different types of white wines in our cellar. We highlight the aromatic wines with fruity notes, soft and well balanced, produced with Macabeo, Xarel·lo and Parellada. We also produce white wines that will be used to produce cava and consequently are ready for a second fermentation. Our rosé wines are produced with the varieties Tempranillo and Garnacha. They are soft and fresh, with flowery touches and brilliant pink or cherry shades. They are ideal as an appetizer or to accompany fish, seafood or rice dishes. We produce 3 types of red wine with different properties. One of them is a young, fresh, fruity wine produced with Tempranillo and Cariñena. Also with Tempranillo and Garnacha, we produce a red wine which has been aged for 9 months in a bottle. It is well structured, of a shiny ruby color with red reflections. Finally, we produce our Réservé with a coupage 100% Cabernet Sauvignon. It is a very aromatic and intense wine with touches of vanilla. It has body and character and will continue to mature over a long time. In 1878, when Joan Baptiste Berger founded the company, he already had an export mission. We continue this tradition, which we have passed on from generation to generation, and which has allowed us to sell around 30% of our production in the European market. In countries such as France, Germany, Sweden, Switzerland, Luxembourg, Denmark, Norway, Finland, England, Ireland, Slovakia or Russia. Our wines also reach the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, to Canada. And even to Japan in Asia. The J.B. Berger Company, founded 130 years ago, guarantees the origin and maximum quality of our wines, which are highly appreciated all over the world.